Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Geography with Joy. This is Subhalakshmi, your host. Today we are going to discuss about the tea plantation in India. This is a very interesting topic and I am trying to make it very informative to you too. I hope you will enjoy this video. Let's start it now. Today's topic for discussion is on tea plantation in India, and the points to be covered are introduction, types of tea, climatic requirements for growing tea, methods of cultivation, harvesting and processing, problems of tea plantation in India, areas and states where tea is grown, health benefits of drinking tea, and economic importance of tea plantation in India. I would like to inform you that tea plantation is coming under plantation farming. So, before going into the depth of the topic, let's have a brief idea of plantation farming. What is this? Plantation farming. It is the production of a single crop on a large scale by using scientific methods, mainly for sale. For example, tea, coffee, rubber, etc. These plantations were introduced in India by the Europeans in the 19th century. The main features of plantation farming are: one crop is cultivated using modern scientific methods on a large tract of land. Fertilizers are used extensively. Commercial crops are grown for sale. A large amount of capital is invested. Now, let's go into the depth of the main topic. Tea plantation in India. Tea plant is a bush with evergreen leaves, the upper surfaces of which are shiny and the undersides are matte and paler. The young leaves and buds are covered with a light silvery down. Hence, they are known as pikoi, after the Chinese word pak ho, which means fine hair or down. Tea bushes are supposed to be indigenous to China. According to a legend, the use of tea was discovered by Emperor Shen Nung of China about 2737 BC. Tea is an important beverage liked by both the aristocrats and common man because of its unique taste and certain inherent qualities as a tranquilizer and mild stimulant. A Japanese folklore states that tea was discovered by an Indian Buddhist monk who visited China in about 500 AD. However, it was Major Robert Bruce who discovered in 1823 that indigenous tea bushes grew wild on the hillsides of Upper Assam. Following this information, tea plantations were set up in Brahmaputra Valley in Assam by the British Governor-General Lord William Bentinck in 1839. Commercial planting of tea began around 1840 when tea seeds were imported from China and planted on the plains of northeast India. By 1859, there were 13 tea plantations in Assam. Gradually, tea plantation, which was largely confined to Upper Assam, began to spread to other parts of India and new areas were opened up to tea. Prominent among these are the Duras and Terai in North Bengal and the foothills of Uttarakhand, the Himalayas around Garhwal and Kumaon. Europeans established tea gardens in the Nilgiris in South India. Tea bush is a tropical and subtropical plant. India is the largest producer, consumer and exporter of black tea. Types of tea. In general, there are three main types of tea. They are black tea, green tea and oolong tea. Apart from that, one more inferior quality of tea is also available, which is known as brick tea. Most of the green and oolong tea come from China, Japan and Taiwan. Black tea is preferred in India, European and Western countries. Brick tea is normally consumed in Russia and Tibet. We will discuss each one of them in detail in our coming slides. Now, let's talk about the geographical requirements of tea plantation. First, the temperature. The ideal temperature for growth of tea crop is 13 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. Temperature below 10 degrees Celsius and above 35 degrees Celsius is harmful to the crop. Alternative cool and warm waves are very helpful for tea leaves. Tea is a shade-loving plant and develop more vigorously when planted along shady trees. Frost is harmful. Rainfall. Tea bushes require about 150 to 250 centimeter of annual rainfall, well distributed throughout the year. While prolonged dry spell is harmful for tea, high humidity, heavy dew and morning fog favor the rapid development of young leaves. Tea cannot withstand stagnant water. Hence, most commercially managed tea operations are located on hill slopes in the highlands where drainage is good. Next is soil. Tea plant requires well-drained, deep, friable loams or forest land rich in organic matter with porous subsoil. Stagnant water is injurious to its roots. Hence, sandy loams are the best. Soil should be gently rolled so as to prevent waterlogging. To prevent waterlogging, which is harmful for the growth of tea bushes, tea is grown on hill slopes. It grows equally well in the valley if the drainage is good. Some of the finest plantations in Assam are found on level ground. The soil must be deep and have a moderately open texture. Virgin forest soil containing a good amount of iron and humus is the best one. Nitrogenous fertilizers like ammonium sulfate increase the yield. A large portion of phosphorus and potash imparts special flavor to tea as in case of Darjeeling tea. However, regular tilling of the soil to remove the weeds is essential. As water must drain away, tea is grown on hill slopes up to an altitude of 2000 meters. The plant, an evergreen, grows quickly at low altitudes where the air is warm. But the finest tea comes from elevations of 900 to 2000 meters. The plant grows more slowly in cool air, adding to its flavor. Stagnant water is harmful. Hence, drainage is given priority when plantations are at a lower level. Frost is injurious to the growth of new plants. Now, let's talk about the methods of cultivation. Tea gardens are laid out on cleared hill slopes under the shade of trees raised in advance. Belts of trees like silver oak to serve as wind barriers are also raised on the borders. Tea is cultivated in two ways. They are from seeds, which is also known as transplantation method, and from cutting, also known as clonal planting. Let's discuss these methods in detail now. Transplantation method. Tea plants have small, white, sweet-smelling flowers. Each flower produces 3 seeds that resemble hazelnuts. Tea is grown by sowing high-quality seeds in nursery beds where they germinate and grow for 9 to 12 months. After that, the saplings are transplanted to the tea gardens. Have a look at this picture. This is a nursery where tea is grown by sowing seeds. After the saplings become 9 to 12 months old, they will be transplanted to the tea garden. Clonal planting. Tea shrubs can also be grown in nurseries from cutting of high-yielding varieties of plants. Cuttings are taken from a tea plant called the mother plant, known for its better yield, special flavor and quality, and then grown so as to produce tea shrubs yielding the same superior quality of tea. They are first grown in nurseries, and a year later, when they are about 20 centimeter high, they are transplanted to the main tea garden or plantation. This method is known as clonal planting and is becoming increasingly popular. Use of manures and fertilizers is essential. Oil cakes and green manures are generally used. Coming to harvesting and processing, first have a look at the layout of plantation. Tea shrubs are grown at a distance of 1 meter in rows. Rows of shade-giving trees are planted alternately with tea shrubs. They are called shelter belts. Now have a look at the harvesting. About 7,500 tea shrubs grow on 1 hectare of land. Tea shrubs are ready for plucking after 3 to 4 years and produce a flush. Flush means new shoots. Each flush consists of several leaves and a bud. It takes almost 40 days for a tea plant to produce a full flush of leaves ready for picking. Next is plucking. Tea production starts with plucking. This is done manually by women and girls early in the morning. For the finest quality tea, they pluck 2 leaves and a bud. This is called fine plucking. Bud is an unopened leaf found between first and second leaf. Plucking should not be done below this standard, as it results in obtaining coarse tea. The leaves contain tiny oil cells which give tea its peculiar flavor. A stimulating substance called thein, a tannic acid, is also found in the leaves. Regular pruning of the tea plant is very essential, as the removal of the central stem encourages the quick development of lateral branches, and periodical pruning doesn't allow the plant to grow more than 40 cm. It facilitates hand plucking, which is done mostly by women. Pruning also helps in growing new shoots bearing soft leaves in plenty. Light rainfall at this stage is very beneficial. At lower elevations, tea is picked every 10 days during the growing season, and at higher altitudes every 15 days. Picking goes on all the time during the southwest monsoon season from early April to mid-November. On an average, there are between 16 to 20 pickings a year. Frequent pruning encourages the rapid production of fresh leaves and shoots. The tea shrubs continue to be productive for about 50 years, after which restocking is necessary. Tea plantation is labor-intensive and requires abundant supply of cheap and skilled labor. Tea picking is a skillful job and requires patience and judgment. It is usually done by women who are better pickers and can be employed at relatively cheaper rates. Have a look at this picture. Women are busy plucking the tea leaves, wearing their traditional dresses and a bamboo basket on their back. It is predominantly women who carry out the labor-intensive job of harvesting tea. This is because women's hands are perceived as being better suited to pluck the delicate tea leaves for processing. Processing of tea. I have already told that there are 4 types of tea. Each one is processed differently. The types are black tea, green tea, oolong tea, and brick tea. Out of these, the most popular one in India is the black tea. India is the largest producer, consumer, and exporter of black tea in the world. So, we will first discuss about the processing of black tea. Black tea. It is processed by drying the leaves, crushing them in a machine, and fermenting them. This tea is taken with milk and sugar in India. In processing black tea, the following steps are taken. They are withering, rolling, fermentation, drying or fixing, sorting, tasting and blending, grading, packing, and export. Now, let's discuss each step in brief. Weathering. Have a look at the picture. This is the inside of a factory where weathering is going on. This is the first step of processing black tea. What do they do here? Let's have a look. The tea leaves, when green, contain lot of moisture. To remove this moisture, the leaves are sprayed over racks and air is passed through them. After they become soft and flexible, they are sent for rolling. It enhances the color and aroma. Rolling. The leaves are then rolled mechanically between the rollers to break up the fibers. It gives the twist to the leaves, breaks the leaf cells, and the natural juice is exposed to the atmosphere for fermentation to set in. It gives the characteristic flavor to the tea. In this picture, you can see the rollers are rolling to break up the fibers of the leaf. The next step is fermentation. After rolling, the tea leaves are spread out in special trays on cement tables for fermentation to set in. During this process, the tannin in tea is partly oxidized and the tea leaf changes its color to copper red. Look at the picture. Fermentation is going on here, where the tea leaves are spread out in special trays on cement tables. This is done under controlled humidity and temperature in the fermenting room. Drying or fixing. After fermentation, the tea leaves are put on a conveyor belt and are passed through an oven at a very high temperature. This needs proper supervision as excessive temperature will scorch the leaves while low temperature will result in improper drying. After this process, the tea leaves get their normal black color and are ready for sorting. The picture shows the drying or fixing process of black tea. Sorting. After drying, the leaves are sorted out in various grades with the help of sifters with different size of meshes. After sorting out, they are given the brand names denoting the size of the leaves like Pekoe, Broken Orange, Dust, etc. The picture shows here different sizes of tea leaves in different boxes. The above 5 operations of processing are part of the orthodox method. Lately, CTC method has been adopted, which consists of crushing, tearing, and curling processes, all done using one machine. It is labor saving compared to the orthodox method. The next step is tasting and blending. Tea grown in different parts of the country vary in taste, flavor, and quality. So, special tea tasters with sensitive taste buds are employed to taste and blend tea to evolve a special brand or quality of tea. Thus, by blending, the tea planter prepares his own brand to supply his customers on the basis of its flavor, color, and texture. Each brand will have its own characteristic flavor, and the blend is a closely guarded secret. Have a look at the picture. A line of cups are placed on a rack for the tea tasters to taste and decide the brand and quality of the tea. A tea taster is a person who not only tastes the tea but also has to identify the difference between the teas and give expert advice on the various ways in which tea can be brewed in order to achieve a particular taste. Grading. This is done according to quality and brand and given fancy names usually associated with the area of production such as Assam tea, Darjeeling tea, Nilgiri tea or Orange Pekoe, or company names such as Brooke Bond, Lipton and Tata tea. I have placed some pictures here. Have a look. This is Tata tea with elaichi. This is Nameri Gold from Assam, and this is Lipton green tea from Darjeeling. These are brand names of different companies. Packing. The tea needs a lot of care while packing to protect its flavor. Generally, plywood cases with a lining of aluminum foil paper is used to keep the tea fresh and retain its flavor. After packing, the tea chests are marked and sent to the nearest port for export. Ready-made tea packs, tea bags, and iced tea have recently come in as the latest products in the market. In this picture, you can see that the fully packed tea bags are ready for export with different brand names and company names printed on them. And finally, the export. Tea is exported from Kolkata, which is the largest tea exporting port in the world, and from Kochi for tea produced in the south. It is the second largest producer of tea in the world with an annual production hovering around 1,279 million kg in 2017. With a billion plus population, India consumes 70% of its total produce. As a result, it has very little amount of surplus tea left for export. Hence, India ranks fourth in the list of tea exporters. India exported 241 million kg of tea in 2017. Most of the teas India produces are of the black tea category. Coming to green tea now. Green tea is not dried in the sun but in ovens after the leaves are steamed in large vats and crushed in machines. It is not fermented. In the preparation of green tea, the picked leaves are heated immediately by roasting them over hot iron pans and are later rolled. There is no fermentation process and the leaves remain green even when they are dried, graded and packed. Green teas are highly flavored and are stronger stimulants because of their higher tannin or tannic acid content. They are usually taken without milk or sugar after brewing with boiling water. Green tea is consumed in China and the East Asian countries. Look at this picture. There are 2 cups of green tea here. refreshing and healthy too. Green tea has been shown to improve blood flow and lower cholesterol. Green tea helps prevent a range of heart-related issues from high blood pressure to congestive heart failure. What's good for the heart is usually good for the brain. Your brain needs healthy blood vessels too. Let's talk about oolong tea now. It is a traditional Chinese tea. This variety of tea is greenish brown in color and is prepared by partially drying and fermenting the leaves. From the tea gardens, a high-grade semi-fermented oolong tea is produced. Much of it is shipped to the United States. It is made from the leaves of the Camellia sinensis plant, the same plant used to make green tea and black tea. The difference is in how the tea is processed. All tea leaves contain certain enzymes which produce a chemical reaction called oxidation. The picture shows here some leaves of oolong tea. Oolong tea has many health benefits. For example, it reduces the risk of heart disease. It lowers the risk of cancer. It decreases inflammation, helps fight obesity. It boosts energy and also improves tooth and skin health. The last type is brick tea. In this variety, the inferior and coarser leaf stems and tea dust are compressed into rectangular blocks of bricks. Such tea is normally consumed in Russia and Tibet. Look at the picture. This is a compressed tea block. Tea bricks are also called as tea cakes, tea lumps, or tea nuggets according to the shape and size. These are the blocks of whole or finely ground black tea, green tea, or post-fermented tea leaves that have been packed in molds and pressed into block form. This was the most commonly produced and used form of tea in ancient China prior to the Ming Dynasty. Although tea bricks are less commonly produced in modern times, many post-fermented teas are still commonly found in bricks, disc, and other pressed forms. Tea bricks can be made into beverages like tea or eaten as food and were also used in the past as a form of currency. So far, we have discussed about different types of tea, their methods of cultivation, and about harvesting and processing. Now, let's talk about the problems of tea plantation in India. Many tea gardens have been closed in recent years due to various causes. Let's find out. Decline in tea price. Due to various causes, the auction price of tea has seen a steady decline over the years. There has been a major crisis in the Indian tea industry which resulted in closing down of the tea gardens. Next is less production of tea. There are multiple problems being faced by the tea industry such as financial crisis, power problems, labor problems, poor labor schemes, inadequate communication system, increased revenue tax for tea gardens, increased pollution fee, less transport subsidy, etc. All these have altogether put the tea industry in Northeast India in a hopeless situation, resulting in low production of tea leaves and tea. Next is labor demand. Leaving aside the native, most of the workers in the tea gardens in Assam and Bengal are ones who have migrated from states like Bihar, Orissa and Madhya Pradesh since the later part of the 19th century. These workers are solely dependent on the tea industry for their daily income and livelihood. However, the migration of laborers has reduced in recent times, resulting in the reduction of the number of laborers in the tea factories. The local laborers have also reduced due to less number of tea laborers for NREGA. Next is Sikh industry. A considerable number of tea gardens have gone sick due to lack of infrastructure, modernization, and efficient management. The next problem is no proper storage. The problem of storing premium quality tea has always been there. Due to delay in transportation and lack of storage facilities, the processed tea gains moisture from the atmosphere and deteriorates its quality. Climatic factors. Unfavorable climatic conditions for tea plantations owing to scanty or very heavy rainfall have badly affected the tea industry. Pest problem. Pest problem is another major issue. Along with the mosquito bug, a disease called the bacterial black spot has also affected many plantations in northeast tea estates. Look at the picture here. This is a leaf affected by pest. Pests attack various parts like leaf, stem, root, flower and seed, causing damage to the leaf and the bud. To control these pests, per hectare consumption of pesticide is excessively high and also expensive. Areas and states. India is the largest producer and consumer of black tea in the world. Tea is grown in 16 states in India. Assam, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Kerala account for about 95% of the total tea production. Now, let's find out in different parts of the country where it is grown mostly. First, the Northeast India. Assam is the largest producer of tea in the world. The conditions are most favorable with over 250 cm rainfall and temperature above 20 degrees Celsius. Morning fog helps and frost never occurs. Moreover, labor is available in plenty. Hence, hand picking is made easy. Assam produces the most popular tea that is pungent in taste. It is strong and used for blending the milder ones. It produces over 50% of the tea produced in the country and about 1/6 of the tea produced in the world. In Assam, there are two main areas of tea production. They are Brahmaputra Valley and Surma Valley. Let's discuss first the Brahmaputra Valley. On both sides of this valley, tea plantations are a common sight. With rainfall above 200 to 300 cm and high temperature with high humidity, the area provides ideal conditions for tea cultivation. Tea cropping is done from April to December. This tea is in great demand all over the world and is used for blending because of its strong flavor and color. Coming to Surma Valley. The Surma Valley lies in the Kachar district of Assam. It produces about 5% of the total tea production of the country. Here, tea gardens are scattered over small mounds along the Surma River and its tributaries. Now, let's find out the other states of the country where tea plantations are done. This is the tea plantation in Darjeeling in West Bengal. West Bengal is the second largest producer. The entire tea of West Bengal is grown in the three northern districts of Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri and Cooch Behar. Here, the tea is grown on Himalayan slopes. Soils are red loams and sandy loams, and the annual rainfall varies from 300 to 500 centimeter. Darjeeling tea is famous for its typical flavor, most popular brand being Green Lipton. Inferior quality is blended with Assam tea for flavor and liquor. This is the tea plantation in Kunnur in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu accounts for 15.9% of the total production of tea in the country. Nilgiris district is the foremost producer. Other producers include Coimbatore, Kanyakumari, Madurai, etc. Nilgiri tea is famous for its fine taste and flavor. And this is Munnar in Kerala. Kerala is the fourth largest producer of tea in India. The important producers include Kottayam, Kollam, Tiruvananthapuram, Thrissur, Palakkad, Kozhikode and Kannur districts. Other minor producers of tea include Ratnagiri, Satara in Maharashtra, Purnia in Bihar, Hazaribagh and Ranchi in Jharkhand, Almora and Garhwal districts in Uttarakhand, Kangra Valley in Himachal Pradesh, Mysore, Coorg, Shimoga in Karnataka and Tripura and Arunachal Pradesh in northeast India. Now let's find out the health benefits of drinking tea. The importance of tea drinking in India cannot be confined to words. Indians have to have their cup of hot steaming tea first thing in the morning in order to stimulate their senses and refresh themselves. In fact, some even argue that tea as a beverage enjoys much more preference as compared to coffee in India. Few of the health benefits of drinking tea are as follows. Tea contains antioxidants. Tea has less caffeine than coffee. Tea may reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke. It may help in weight loss. Tea may help protect your bones. It improves the brain function. Tea protects against cancer and keep your smile bright. Coming to the next important part of the topic, the economic importance of tea. India is the second largest producer of tea in the world with an annual production hovering around 1,279 million kg in 2017. India ranks fourth in the list of tea exporters. Most of the teas produced in India are black tea category. A number of renowned teas such as Assam and Darjeeling tea also grow exclusively in India. The Indian tea industry has grown to own many global tea brands and has evolved to one of the most technologically equipped tea industries in the world. Tea production, certification, exportation, and all other facets of the tea trade in India is controlled by the Tea Board of India. The tea crop in India is important due to the following reasons. It is the most preferred beverage in India. Since it is a labor-intensive industry, it provides employment to millions of people in the country. It supports the plywood, fertilizer and transport industries. It is one of the major foreign exchange earners in India. It is one of the largest employers of women among organized industries of India. Women constitute over 50% of the total workforce. And that's how we have come to the end of the topic. I hope you have understood the topic and enjoyed my video too. In my next video, we will discuss about the jute cultivation in India. Stay connected. Don't forget to like and share my video and of course to subscribe it. Thanks for watching. See you again. Till then, take care and have a nice day.